Hi and welcome to episode 9 of YarnAdelaide Knits podcast. My name's Nicole. I'm also known as Cola Girl on Ravelry and Cola Girl 74 on Instagram. You can join in the Ravelry group, the YarnAdelaide Knits podcast group, and join in the conversation there. My podcast is only available on YouTube. I don't own an Apple product, so it's not on iTunes or anywhere else. Welcome back to my regular viewers. Great to still have your company, and welcome to any new viewers. Great that you stopped by and check out what's going on in my knitting world. I hope it's similar to yours. Got my cup, my R2D2 mug, or it's not mine, it's my husband's, with my cup of Nespresso Ristretto today. What have we got today? I've got no finished objects. I've got too many whips happening, I think. Some of them are almost finished. And a few knit-alongs that I've joined in, which I guess kind of inspire you to cast on something from your queue. And my queue is enormously long and not always there's not necessarily everything that I want to do is in my queue either. Some things just go in there going, yeah, I like that, put it in the queue, I'll do it later. So yeah, got a few works in progress, got a bit of guild news, got going to talk about knit along that we will start a little bit later on. Just looking at my notes, something else that I've done. Got a couple of acquisitions and justified acquisitions too. So I'll explain that a bit later. A part of Control Your Stash. I'll talk about that one later as well. Still in front with that one. So yeah, let's get on to it and we'll do some works in progress. Have a mouthful. Okay, so first one, I guess, one that is carrying on from last time as well, is my brioche cow. It's getting bigger, you see? It's probably about, I don't know, almost 6 inches now. And that's one side, and that's the other one. Yeah. The maroon burgundy colour is Flax Lily from 4-ply, well, the colour is Flax Lily, it's the white gum wool 4-ply, and the other one, the multicoloured, is a Lang Yarns Millie colour sock and lace luxe superwash. So it's got a bit of it's probably almost probably get a gist of the colours there a bit better than what it's in the cow. Must say I'm not 100% happy with the yarn. The yarn is a beautiful colourway, it's nice and soft, but the stellina breaks in it, and the joins from one colour to another end up having tufts of fluff added to them, and they're all, you can see that there and that there again. And that's a little bit in that one. Yeah, it's probably a nice big one there. Yeah, so the quality of the manufacturing has been a bit disappointing, and the stellina that's in it breaks. Well, there's a few broken bits in it, so that's been a bit disappointing too. The colour's beautiful. The colour ways that they do are great, but this one, and this is the second colour of that yarn I've had. The other one was alright. I think there was a couple of tufts that were a bit like that. I thought it was going to rain. But yeah, it's not so much anymore. Yes. But anyway, I'm still really happy with it, and I'll just have to do something about sewing it in. Brioche, I don't think I'll do it again. I've been there, done it. I don't think it's not as wonderful as I thought it would be, and it's a few mistakes in here, and I know that they're there. I think I finally figured out how to correct them, but only if they're a couple of rows down. I'm trying to figure out how to weave it in, how it goes about, but yeah, because of the two strands, the stranding of it is it can be quite confusing. But it's not a stitch. Yeah, I don't. Sorry, Stephen West, I'm not in love with brioche. I've done it once and that will be enough. Let's put it that way. So, moving on. Now, that's not one of the ones that are part of any cows or anything. Excuse me. While I reach over. This one, I started doing the 3-colour cashmere shawl. I bought the 3-colour cashmere cow pattern last year, and I've done one of those, which I love. And when Yohi Locatelli bought out, oh, my hair is falling out through it, bought out the shawl, I didn't buy it straight away because I'd already bought the cow, and I was a bit reluctant to buy the shawl as well, since I'd already bought the cow and it was pretty much the same pattern. But then I realised, I realised that she was offering a discount if you'd bought the cow pattern. So I finally pulled my head in and bought the shawl pattern as well, because I did like the shawl pattern too. And I hopefully will enter this in the 3-colour cashmere shawl knit along with the Grocery Girls. So, as people in Adelaide or Australia will probably note, the colours that I've chosen are for a reason. Yes, we do go for the Adelaide Crows football team, and we are going to a game in June. So I should have this finished. This needs to be finished by the beginning of May, so it should be easy. Other 2 colours, so yeah, the yellow will be in the white gum wool 4-ply. That colour is called Everlasting. And the red is the Peyton's Dreamtime, 100% Australian Merino baby yarn, in colour 0091. It doesn't have a colour name, it just has a number. And then the blue is Clequeton Merino Bambino, which is a nice, almost purple navy. So yeah, and that colour is 2201. So I tend to use been using a lot of the baby yarn, but being that they're 100% wool and they don't have any nylon or acrylic in them, and the colour palettes of them aren't in the muted baby colours anymore, they're broadening their colour palette. So yeah, I've almost finished the thin stripes and go on to the next phase soon. Yeah, that's coming along nicely. It's quite nice, easy knitting. So yeah, next one I am doing. So yeah, that one's joined into the Grocery Girls. Now this hat is for a Yarned Woman hat knit along that I'm doing. So this is a Martine? Yeah, it's a free pattern, Martine hat. by Lisa R. Myers. That's that one there. So it's got, they call the mock cable there a St. John's wort pattern, which is interesting. Yeah, so needles I used for the band, and I decided to do the band in a twisted rib, and I only wanted a 1 1/4 inch rib pattern, but I did about just over 2 inches of it. I wanted it a bit bigger. And so yeah, the band was done in 3.5 mm, no, I ended up, they wanted 3.5 and 4.5, but I decided to do the band in 3 and the pattern in 3.5, only because the yarn that I'm using is Kathy's Fibres High Twist sock. Oh no, it's not even a sock, it's High Twist Fingering I think it's called. I can't remember what the colour is. I did start this yarn with Ed socks that I was doing, but the cables were too much for me, not for me, but in a sock they were too restricting. So I pulled it out and I thought, well, I'll redo it in this. But this yarn is quite, being that it's a high twist, it's quite compact and thin, it doesn't plume. So yeah, the smaller needles I think are a bit better for it, and as you can see when it comes up into the light you can see how airy it still is anyway. So yeah, I'm happy with that, and a four row repeat on the pattern. It's quite simple, and even if you forget to do the pattern, the yarn, bring yarn over, the next row you can fix it up anyway. And you know, make sure that you've done all of them, if that makes sense. If you've done this pattern or done similar, there's St. John's wort mock cable, you'll understand what I'm talking about. So yeah, and that one's, yeah, in the YarnAdelaide hat knit along. So I think that one needs to be finished soon too, around beginning of May again. And then we have my header foo day. Now I've stalled, gotten to a point, I started doing the header foo day again, and I was going great guns and got to the point where we had to do the 3 needle bind off for the arms and then divvy up for the neckline and then carry on with the rest of the body. And I've done the ribbing, and then I'm trying to divvy up, trying to figure out the divvy up for the casting, binding off for that around the neck and carrying on for the rest of it. And it's not, in my head it's not adding up, and I'm quite shy of doing the bind off and carrying on, kind of knowing in my head it's not gonna be even. So admittedly I haven't counted the stitches after when they've said that you should have these stitches, so I think I probably need to rip out the ribbing and go back and make sure I've divvied up all properly. So yeah, it's a nice pattern. The yarn I'm using for that is a Rowan Cash Cotton, which actually doesn't have any wool in it. It is, and I think it's a discontinued cut. I can't see that very well. Yeah, that might be better. So it is 35% cotton, 25% polyamide, 18% angora, 13% viscose and 9% cashmere. The colour shade is 915. It has no colour name. It's a bit sad when they don't give them names. But I suppose that's what happens with commercial yarns. They do too many of them and just a number will do. But it's a nice musky pink. And you can see the angora gives it a bit of a hue, like what alpaca does. But I don't know, I'm not sure. Angora tends to shed a bit, and it does when I'm knitting it. I get tickly nose and that ends up starting to annoy me, and I wonder what it'll be like when I start wearing it. Or maybe it might settle down after it's been washed or hand washed. where it might help the Angora to lie down and stabilise. But yeah, next one I have, now that one I'm also doing for the Knitting Expats knit along for sweaters, sweater knit along. I think it qualifies for that. So yeah, I might slot it into that one if I get it finished. Next one I have on the go is my Hermione's Everyday Socks. That's the one, the hoe that I have, and I think I'm ready to start turning the heel of the second sock. And this one I'm doing with Katie from Inside Number 23 podcast. I think I tend to like a lot of podcasts from the UK, or with people from the UK in them, hosting them. Yeah, so that's almost ready to, no, it is ready to turn the heel. I need to start doing the heel flap. So yeah, and then once I turn the heel, it kind of slides off itself. So yeah, everybody knows Hermione's Everyday Socks by Erica Luda. Another free pattern on Ravelry, which is awesome. The yarn is Opal Neon. Now the colour is, the colour tag is in here. There we go. Neon. I don't think they do this anymore. Colour is 1973. It's something that's been in my stash for a while. And then I did some blanket squares. So I'll get that one out of here. I've got all my bits and pieces that I want to show you along a seat from an outdoor setting. So I have done, I think, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 squares. 5 squares in my Cozy Memories blanket. You can see it's getting big. Not as big as what I thought it was when I was working on it yesterday. And because it's been cold, I've been doing it at night, and it's not big enough to cover my feet. So that's when I've been going, need to make it bigger. And yeah, I think it might start being my nighttime knitting with the cooler weather, although the last 2 nights it's been a bit warmer. So I have done these 2 here, and this one is a sock. Well, I've knitted myself a pair. This is a Scarlet Square. I've knitted myself a pair of socks. I think she may have had some booties in this when she was a baby, because I didn't have very much of it left. And then I've put a blanket square, and then this one is an Elijah square, and this was my very end bit of my Skein Yarns top drawer socks, and I think the colour's Woodlands, and then that's just a bit of Bendigo that was left over. Being quite thrifty and using every inch of my scraps. And then I did these 3 as well, which will make it look a bit awkward. Now my squares are 30 stitches and 30 stitches, so I think it just takes just over 5 grams of yarn. So this was one of the mini swaps that I did with Zena. So the very end bit the 5 grams didn't quite make it, which is okay. It's, you know, it's not anybody's fault. It just didn't go to the end. But I thought that was more Silas's colour, so I used that one. And I think that was a bit lighter. It's quite a thin sock yarn. It's almost like almost a 3-ply, I reckon. It's like a light fingering. because I use 3¼ mil needles for my squares, which the next one I do, I think I might make them 25 stitches on each side and use maybe a 3 or a 2.75 mil needle just to tighten it up a bit. And then this one is some Regia that I had left over from some socks that I did early last year or even the year before, and that was one of the I can't remember for the life of me what colour the yarn is. We have a lady that comes into Guild and she brings in sock yarn that her friend uses as a fundraiser for an orphanage in Africa. So when you buy the sock yarn, it goes, some of the money goes to raising for the orphanage in Africa that she helps fund. And that was a Regia from that, and so I would have thrown out the band donkeys ago. And then, so yeah, that was a Silas square, and then that one was another Scarlet square, and then this one was an Elijah square. Now that one is some sock scraps that I got from a friend from her deceased estate. She ended up having brain cancer and she passed away about 5-6 years ago, about 5 years ago now. And she used to we used to always keep our sock scraps and make booties, or then these crazy memory blankets came along. And yeah, when she died, she had a bag full of them, so I whipped them up. So yeah, so that's how far I've got. And basically I end up going, I'll do along here and then I'll start from the bottom and go up again, so it gradually gets bigger and wider. I'm not sure how big and wide it'll end up being. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 7 squares wide at the moment, and we're up to 2, 4, 6, 7 squares long. So yeah, and I'm trying to sew in the ends as I go. That's the back. So yeah. Yeah. One thing that I probably will do next time is probably sew with the ends, sew in the corners where they all meet, because I've kind of left a bit of a gap and not been too thorough with making sure they all join up and be nice and neat. But that doesn't matter too much. You kind of learn as you go. It's the first one, I'm sure. Not yet. I'm sure everybody that has completed a Cozy Memories blanket, it doesn't end up being that their only one that they do. Now, is that all my whips? As you can see, there's a few, and there's a few that have been neglected for a few months as well. But I think that is all of them. On to some acquisitions. Went up to Kathy's Fibres last Wednesday. She opens up her studio every second Wednesday of the month, where you can go up and do some spinning, and take your spinning wheel, or do some knitting and just hang out for a few hours. She's up at Lobethal, which is about half an hour drive. So I stopped off at the bakery and got some lunch and then made my way there, which I ended up meeting my uncle, bumping into my Justin's uncle, who owns Golding Wines at Lobethal as well. He'd been sent in to get some bread because they were having 10 people for lunch or something. So anyway, I have been selling off some of my yarn that I know that I won't use, and that it's just been sitting in my stash, taking up space, and going, no, I'm just not going to use it. So sell it, and then I can reinvest into something that I want. So my justification of buying these yarns. So I ended up buying 2 skeins of her superwash merino nylon socks, her fingering sock, and I got this one, which has got some nice teals and purples and pinks in it, which is quite cute. It's called Melandra 2. That must be the second one that she did of it. And yeah, and then I got, been going for colours that I want rather than going, well, been going for some more girly colours, because there's not many, I don't have many girly colours in my stash. And then I got some of this one which I've already wound up, which is called Primulas, which so looks like primula flowers with the hot pink and the purple in there. Yes, I used to have some primulas years ago. Now what's in my garden is, if I grow it, if we can make money out of it. And yes, we're about to clean out all the zucchinis which have died off. There's a few eggplant there and some herbs, and the zucchinis got pulled out and the tomatoes got pulled out. So we're starting to get the beds ready for winter stuff, which if we don't get organised enough, we won't, we'll run out of time to plant garlic. And the mother-in-law's got some kale seedlings ready for us to plant as well, and we'll grow some other things. I feel like growing some beans, a heap of beans I think, and some peas. Anyway, so yeah, those two. So my justification for buying these was that I'd sold off a heap of my yarn that I no longer required. So as part of my Control Your Stash, I had 1,325 grams stash out, and for each square of on my Cozy Memories blanket, I'm just going to class them as 5 grams, knowing that they take probably 6, but who knows properly exactly how much they take, so I'll class them as 5 grams. So I did 5 squares, so that's 25 grams of actually something that I had finished, because I'll only class of stash out is with completed projects. So plus 25 grams of stash out, I'm up to 1,350 grams, but I was up to stash in was 900 grams, plus the 2 100 gram skeins that I got acquired, so I'm up to 1,100 grams of stash in. So it still gets me in front 250 grams. Hopefully by next podcast I will have most of my whips finished, so there'll be lots of stash out next time. But there might be still more stash in, because as I'm gradually selling off, I'm reinvesting, and I think hopefully I've still got some Madeline Tosh BFL silk coming in, which I'm really excited about. Hopefully that might even come today or later in the week, depending on who I bought it off a lady in Sydney, in the Australian Knitters group in a D-stash. So I think I got it for a pretty good price, having to pay for postage, which I end up tagging on. But anyway, so yeah, I'm happy with that. And then we've got some guild news. We are next meeting, which is the first Saturday in May, we're having, it's our general meeting day, so which will also be over the, what's it called? It's called Stitches and Craft Show. There will be a blocking workshop that myself and Charmaine from YarnAdelaide will be hosting, I guess, for want for a better word, and help teach and show people some blocking methods of different bits and pieces. So I'll be able to take my blocking wires and my sock blockers and my mats and bits and pieces and the pins and what have you that I use, and then Charmaine's has a heap of different blocking accessories, equipment in a shop that she can take and show as well. So that will be good. And what else? We've got someone else who's coming along for our open day on the 21st of May. Carol from Dyed Aussie Yarn is coming along as well. So with having a trading stall there, so we've got Dyed Aussie Yarn, Yarnarama, Kathy's Fibres, Stranded in Oz, and Buttontopia having stalls there. So that should give a nice mix. So anyone in Adelaide or is going to be in Adelaide over the 21st of May, is going to be around the Unley area, come along and check out and get some yummy yarn and what have you. Guild is also having a stand at the Stitches and Craft show, which is on from the 5th to the 7th of May at the Wayville Showgrounds. I'll be there doing my bit for volunteering on the Thursday morning, so come in and say hi and check out what we do at the Guild and see the display of what we've got there. Yeah, we'll be in aisle B in the southeastern corner. So yeah, it'd be great to see you. Come and introduce yourselves, especially if you watch my podcast. I'd love to meet you. Yeah, that would be great. And check out what we do at the Guild. Yeah, I think that's all for Guild news. Last thing, but not least, is I'm finally going to host a knit-along, which I'm very excited about. I did put a thread in my Ravelry group about having a knit-along and what should we do. So I wanted to do something that's fairly broad and for everybody that knits or crochets or does any kind of fibre art or stuff as such, like weaving and that sort of thing. I think would classify and be fine to put in. So being that we're coming into winter in the Southern Hemisphere down here, I thought, and Game of Thrones starts this weekend or this Monday coming, I'll do a Winter is Coming knit-along. So being that winter is coming and the weather is getting colder, anything that you want to knit for winter, whether, I know even if people in the Northern Hemisphere, if they still knit over the summer, they'll still do the smaller items like your hats and your socks and that sort of thing for the following winter. Not necessarily following winter, but it still qualifies. So whether you just want to knit accessories, which is great, yeah, I'll start a chatter thread and I will start a finished objects thread. All that you need to do is qualify, is be part of the Ravelry group, and hopefully you've subscribed to my YouTube channel. That would be wonderful and greatly appreciated. And yeah, and join in. Already Tracy from Knit Spin Weave has donated a $20 voucher to spend in her shop. So even if you can't get there, she has a website that you can order online and have it posted out to you. So it's a win-win for everybody. So for whoever wins. And I will put that prize I will put in the finished objects thread. I will make some stitch markers and progress keepers as part of some of the prizes, and I have been, actually something that I didn't talk about yet, I bought some dyes, some acid dyes from Charmaine and Sarah from Yarnarama, some Gable dyes. I ended up just getting the 2 sample packs. So I've been wanting to have a play, I'm digressing, I've been wanting to have a play with dyeing yarn. I've got, behind the camera here, I've got skeins hanging up, ready to dye. I had everything out on Sunday to dye up. I'd bought a second-hand electric fry pan from Savers that had been tested. I had all the other equipment ready. I had my citric acid, I had my tongs, I had my gloves, I had my apron, I had my bottles. The bottles for the dye solutions all mixed up ready. I had my measuring cups. I'd got all the equipment that I needed, had all set up. I had the water heating in the electric fry pan with the citric acid ready to go. I had I'd pre-soaked my yarn and was just about to immerse it in, or no, it was immersed in the water and I'd only had the water about 300 on the dial, about medium heat. And then I'd immersed the yarn in there. I'm just looking at the yarn, and I turned up the heat, and it tripped the safety switch in the house, and I was like, "Argh!" And so yeah, that was the end of my dyeing. I was almost ready to, had it all ready to, I was going to try have a play with speckles and just speckle 3 different colours that I'd chosen to use, because yeah, they've got a bush blends and the original blends in the sample packs of the dye, and yeah, so I'd chosen 3 colours that I was going to play with, and I immersed 2 skeins in the water and just going to speckle and see how that went. And yeah, the safety switch tripped, so I couldn't finish heating the water, and that was the end of it. So I need to go purchase, apparently Kmart have the 10-litre stock pots with lids. Kathy told me this, for $20, so I'll have to go in there and buy one of them, and then I'll just heat the water on the barbecue around the corner, because I want to sort of keep it all outside for the time being and see how I go. I like the idea of it. Something that I've sort of never really entertained, but then I've seen so many different indie dyers do their podcasts, watching Wool and Vine and Jinx Yarn, and who else do I watch? Hannah, of course, Hannah from Rosehip Knits, and who else does it? Kathy, although Kathy's helpful, but she helpful, but she doesn't like to give too much away, and you know, rightly so. She's been dyeing for 10 years now, and she's quite successful at doing it, and she's getting a good following, and yeah, she had some lovely Weasleydale roving plats in Graduates there on Wednesday that all the ladies had pre-purchased and were spinning with, and the comments that they were talking about, I was like, well, I want one of them, and I can play with the drop spindles, because the Weasleydale fibres are quite longer, so they're a little bit more forgiving and easier to spin with, because yeah, they don't break, or they don't have the short fibres like the softer merinos do and what have you. So I could probably use my drop spindle and play with that quite well, and I want to experience different fibres and what have you. And they were raving about, although I never felt any. That was silly me. I never actually stopped to touch them either. Which, yeah, the colours that she was doing in the gradients for that were lovely. So yeah, anyway, so I might even, I've got some, if I manage to get it done, which I'm hoping it will happen, get some dye, I might use some of the dyes, my dyed yarn as some of the prizes as well. And I have been by another thing, watching too many podcasts, I think, yes, is overstimulated my creativity and me wanting to try these things out. And so I have bought material, and I was supposed to, but I don't have a sewing machine of my own, but something that I've did in high school, and I made my prom dress in high school, and yeah, something that I haven't probably done for 20 odd years, but something that I think I want to get back into and use my creativity that way. I've never wanted to get into quilting, because I didn't think I had the room in my house. Same with spinning. That's why I've started with drop spindle. I don't have the room. I've got 3 kids in a 3-bedroom house now that we've made into a 4-bedroom house, so we can fit them all in, and storage space is just, yeah, that's another reason why I'm trying to get rid of some of my stash as well, so I've got some storage space again. So yeah, the shed's filling up. Yeah, so yeah, some yarn, and then, okay, that's where I was going. My mum's got a nice quilting machine, but it needed a service, and there was something that the bobbin casing was broken, and she knew it wasn't working properly, and we were going to do a heap of sewing when I went up there and stayed with her over Easter, but it didn't happen because the machine was broken, so she had to send it away to get it fixed, and she's got it fixed. She's coming down tomorrow, so hopefully, fingers crossed, I can get my sew on. And I've been watching and make some project bags which I can use as part of the prizes for the cow. So join in. Getting back onto the topic. Join in with the cow. That would be great. You can finish objects, you can enter as many as as long as they're something to do. They're like a garment or an accessory for winter, so a scarf or a hat or a cow, socks, gloves, jumpers, cardigans, blankets. Yeah, a whole blanket. Yeah. Even if I wouldn't class a cozy memory square as a finished object. If you can, I guess, show them off in the chatter thread, but not in the finished objects. So yeah, enter as many times as you like, as long as you're a member of the group. That would be great. Hopefully you win. Good luck. So yeah, I think that finishes my podcast for today. I'm hoping I've got everything, I've told you everything that I wanted to. I'll remember everything when I finish, when I relax, and I'll be right. And I go, damn it, I forgot to write it. And I should, and every time I remember things, my notebook, that's what I keep looking at, is not there. It's not there for me to write it down. Or I go, yeah, I'll write that down later, and I won't be able to remember for the life of me. That's what happens when you have babies. Your brain turns to mush, and it takes you years to get it back, and then you think you've got it back, and then you fall pregnant again. Oh, hang on, I'm telling you too much about my life. Alrighty guys, on that note, I think I better go and finish this coffee and go referee in the house, because I can hear Scarlett's beating up her brothers. Alright then, see you guys.